Hi, I'm Dr. Shaunna of drshaunna.com and welcome to Superfood Spotlight. The superfood we're featuring this week in the spotlight is olive oil. Now, olive oil is one of those superfoods that all of the researchers agree is healthy. And to get them all to agree, that's quite something. There was a study done in 2003 that looked at 22,000 people living in Greece following the Mediterranean diet, of which a key component is olive oil, and they found that they had a less incidence of heart disease, cancer, and they lived longer. And a lot of you have likely heard about the Mediterranean diet and all of the health properties. Great book out there by Dan Buettner called The Blue Zones that looked at the places in the world where people live the longest, like over 100 years. And Sardinia, Italy is one of them. And one of the key features from that region is olive oil. So as in all of these superfood videos, we're going to cover the top 10 health benefits of olive oil and some studies to back that up. But first of all, there's a lot of questions that are arising and some misconceptions that people have as to terminology. So I want to cover some of these because what's pure virgin oil or virgin oil, extra virgin olive oil, what does all that mean? Cold pressed, what is all that mean and does it matter? And also smoke points, and that's a important piece to know about, and often there's a lot of miscommunication and misunderstanding about that. So I'll do my best to clear it up at the point that we know of it. At this point in time, the new research always comes out, but let's start with just some definitions. Pure olive oil comes from pressing olives, and it doesn't matter how many pressings of the olive, it could be a number of pressings of the olive, and it is often refined. And so they've used heat and chemicals to refine the olive oil. And it's often a blend of virgin olive oils and refined olive oils. And it has the highest smoke point. Some would say it's the poorest quality, but it depends on what you're wanting to use it for. Next, we'll talk about virgin olive oil. Virgin olive oil is oil coming from the first pressing of the olive, and it is unrefined, and it has an acidity of about 1 to 2%, and it is of higher quality, some would say, than the pure olive oil. Then next we have extra virgin olive oil. So what that is, again, it is from the first pressing of the olives. It is also unrefined, but it is of the lowest acidity, less than 1%. It is the highest quality, and it has, some would say, the best taste, but it also has 4 times the amount of the healthy oleic acids, and we're going to get into that in a little minute. So that's what you want, although it also has the lowest smoke point. So you're going to want to stay away from that with your higher heat cooking. That's going to be really important. I'll touch on that in a moment. Now, cold pressed is kind of self-explanatory. It means it comes from pressing the olives without heat, so mechanically pressing them, and that is felt to be the best, obviously. So what you're looking for, the best is going to be organic, cold-pressed, extra virgin olive oil. Unless you're wanting to cook at higher heats, then that's not going to be what you're wanting. But for those health benefits, that's what we're talking about. And for short, a lot of us refer to it as EVOO. I think Rachel Ray might have been one of the first people to coin that EVOO phrase. All right, so now let's talk about smoke points. All oils, when you heat them, have a temperature at which they smoke. And when it gets to beyond that smoke point, it can give off damaging free radicals, which actually would undo everything that we talk about. We're always talking about being anti-inflammatory, and that would be pro-inflammatory. And that is not what we want. We do not want to go above that smoke point. So that's really important. Now here's where it gets a little bit controversial. If you try to find the smoke point of olive oil, if you look in 10 places, you're going to find 10 different answers. It is anywhere between 220 and 450 degrees Fahrenheit in my research. And the extra virgin olive oil will have the lower, maybe around 320 degrees Fahrenheit max, and the pure olive oil will have somewhere around 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And that actually makes a difference because that gets in and around the temperatures at which you want to cook at. So in my meal cure, where I'm helping people create great meals and recipes, I'll often reserve olive oil for no heat cooking, or people could use it for a really light saute. So things like, well, one of the great uses of olive oil, I usually do this at the end, but I'll do it now. So dipping bread in it, dipping it in oil and vinegar, for example, is great. Vinaigrettes is excellent, so salad dressings, things like that. Making a pesto, a pesto pasta sauce using olive oil, because we're not using heat, so that's excellent as well. Hummus is another great use of olive oil. So anytime that you are using olive oil without heat, excellent, go for that extra virgin olive oil. If you're cooking and you're cooking at a higher heat, then it is safer, and you will see that in my recipes I often recommend avocado oil, which has a higher smoke point, still healthy, or you could use a grapeseed oil, or if we're doing more of an Asian dish, peanut oil has a really nice high smoke point, but also gives really great flavor for some of those dishes. So that's kind of the lowdown on that. If occasionally you will find on the bottle, it will say the smoke point on it, then, great. But it does depend on the variety of olives and all of that. So just to be on the safe side, I tend to reserve that for vinaigrettes, or you could get away with a very light, low heat saute. If you see it smoking, that you're going to want to avoid that. All right, so let's move into, and the other thing is, apparently lately they've been saying some companies have been a little bit less scrupulous, and they're saying they're extra virgin olive oil, and they're not. So I'm going to leave that to you to investigate. I know that this one that I have used was recently in the approved, and it truly is extra virgin olive oil, and it's actually a Costco olive oil, and it is an organic USDA organic olive oil. So I've used many different brands, so you can check that out, and those are things that always change, so everything is Googleable. All right, so now let's look at the health benefits. Well, olive oil has a very high percentage, like 75 to 77% MUFA, which stands for monounsaturated fatty acids. Those are the healthy kind. So there's healthy fats and not healthy fats. These are the best of the healthy fats. And in fact, adding more of those healthy fats in has been associated with a decrease in your belly fat, decrease in that belly bloating. So how about that? And I have definitely seen when people increase their omega-3 fatty acids that, I've seen that over and over again, experienced it myself, and you can actually have an improvement there. For a weight loss point of view, olive oil is great because it helps to increase satiety. You feel full, you feel satisfied. Now, in 1 tablespoon, there's 120 calories, so a little bit goes a long way. You want to use it sparingly if you're going to use it for cooking. Sometimes it's great to get a spritzer and just lightly spray it on. That's really great. However, I'm going to go through a few studies, and you'll see that maybe you don't have to be as afraid of the calories of it as you might think. Gradually, we're getting rid of that outdated sort of calorie diet mentality, and this is one of those areas where you're going to see that's played out. It is diabetic friendly, so it is going to help. It doesn't have a glycemic index. I've often talked about the glycemic index, but it doesn't have any carbs. It's fat, and so it isn't assigned blood sugar rise level, but that's because it doesn't spike your blood sugar. However, it is additionally beneficial because when you add olive oil into your diet, that healthy fat is going to blunt a blood sugar rise in anything else that's going on in that same meal. And vinegars do the same thing. So when you do an oil and vinegar salad dressing, that's going to be wonderful to help blunt that blood sugar spike that we don't want. It's also that oil and vinegar is great for dipping in bread. Like, if you can find a great whole grain, nutrient dense bread, gluten-free if desired, dipping it in olive oil and vinegar is going to help blunt that blood sugar rise. So there you can kind of have your cake and eat it too, if you will. I love bread. Olive oil is very high in antioxidants, and we'll talk about that. There was this 2010 study that looked at 100 genes within us that are, precursors to obesity, diabetes, and cancer, and olive oil affected that in a favorable way. So that's great. It is also high in anti-inflammatory properties and high in antioxidants. Those two often go hand in hand. There was let me just see which study I want to bring out. Well, it's also high in vitamin E, 72% vitamin E. And vitamin E and some of these other antioxidants, and in particular with olive oil, it's been shown to prevent LDL, that's your bad cholesterol, from oxidizing. So that's a good thing. And there have been studies that show that it has a cholesterol lowering effect. There was a study done with people who had 2 tablespoons of olive oil every day for 6 weeks. And at the end of that, they had a decrease in their bad LDL cholesterol by 16% and an increase in their good HDL cholesterol. So really great for improving your cholesterol profile. It's been associated with blood pressure lowering. It has high vitamin K. 100 grams of olive oil has 75% of your recommended daily allowance, and that's very heart healthy amongst other things as well, helping to give a favorable blood clotting profile as well. It is also associated with the reduced risk of Alzheimer's. So we talked about the Mediterranean diet. There's something that's recently, it is the most researched type of diet in 2016 was the MIND diet. MIND is a combination of the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet. And it kind of blends the best of both worlds. And olive oil is one of those key factors in that. And the combination olive oil plus all the other factors in that diet was associated with a decreased risk of Alzheimer's, and I believe it was 54%, 53 or 54%. That's staggering and amazing. And you can find more of that information on the FAQ in mealcure.com, because I tend to follow roughly, that is probably the closest diet that I follow. I kind of like the best of both worlds, but I feel like I give it a little tweak and an upgrade in addition. And then, of course, as always, my favorite thing is its anti-cancer ability, and especially its ability to decrease the risk of breast, colon, prostate, pancreas, and endometrial cancer. Olive oil has lignans in it, plant lignans, which help to decrease this risk. It's been shown in studies. In the Annals of Oncology, they found that oleic acid, which is in olive oil, decreased the breast cancer gene expression by 46%. Pretty stunning. And of course, I just love the taste of olive oil as well. So it's also great for your skin. I mean, that kind of goes without saying. So many reasons why you might want to just incorporate these olive oils into your diet. So olive oil is the superfood of the week. We're featuring in at least 2 of our meals at mealcure.com. This is an online superfood meal planning service that I've created to help you take the stress and chaos out of what's for dinner and put the fun, joy, ease, and most of all, the health right back in. Did you like this video? Feel free to like and comment. Do you love olive oil? What's your favorite way to enjoy olive oil? I'd love to hear. For more Superfood Spotlight videos, check out my YouTube channel at Dr. Shaunna, and head on over to mealcure.com to see what all the fuss is about on that meal planning service. With that, have a fantastic week and be good for you.